Hey YouTube, Kira Twig here, bringing you all an update to my Heraldic Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck profile for December 2023. The Heraldics were used by Vetrix in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal series, and it's been a while since I've done an update to the deck, which focuses on being able to Xyz summon a bunch of different rank 4 Xyz monsters, including the many different number monsters we have for all of the Heraldic Kings, using our Heraldic Beasts from our main deck to overlay into them. We've had some support throughout the Vrain series for additional support for the Heraldic monsters, but we haven't really gotten anything recently, but still like to keep the deck up to date with all the changes I've made to it. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So we'll go ahead and start off with the main deck monsters. For the Heraldic Beast monsters, we run 3 copies of Heraldic Beast Leo. During the end phase of the turn, this card was normal summoned. Destroy this card, and when this card is sent to the graveyard, add 1 Heraldic Beast monster from your deck to your hand, except for Heraldic Beast Leo. You can only use this effect of Leo once per turn, but you have a 2000 attack point monster that gives you more search when this card is sent to the graveyard. So it also doesn't specify for when this card is sent to the graveyard, just has to be sent to the graveyard in general to get that additional search. So as long as it's the last thing that happens in the chain, you'll have the search power of Heraldic Beast Leo to add another Heraldic Beast monster from your deck to your hand. We're also running 3 copies of Heraldic Beast Amphis Bana. With this card, you can discard 1 other Heraldic Beast monster to special summon this card from your hand, and once per turn you can discard 1 Heraldic Beast monster. This card gains 800 attack until end of turn. So more setup with some of your other Heraldic Beast monsters when they're sent to the graveyard, but just being another easy special summon monster on the field can give you your 2 level 4 monsters to then overlay into your Heraldic Beast monster of choice. With the last of the 3 ofs being 3 copies of Heraldic Beast Ale. If you control 2 or more Heraldic Beast monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand. So giving you the 3 level 4 monsters helps when we want to get some of our bigger Heraldic monsters, like our number 69 Heraldry Crest onto the field, that need 3 level 4 monsters to overlay into. So just another easy special summon card as well. It's not a once per turn either, and you can even just control another EL on the field to special summon this card out. For some of the lower numbers for our Heraldic Beast monsters, 2 copies of Heraldic Beast Unicorn. You can banish this card from your graveyard to target 1 Psychic type Xyz monster in your graveyard. Special summon it, its effects are negated. You can only use this effect of Unicorn once per turn, but just more extending for your plays. Unicorn can be one of your normal summon monsters, and then just as a way to grab one of your Psychic ones, which are all of our many different Heraldic Xyz monsters, to summon out onto the field as well with that summon. Also 2 copies of Heraldic Beast Aberconway. If this card's in the graveyard, you can banish another Heraldic Beast Aberconway from your graveyard to target 1 Heraldic Beast monster in your graveyard to add that target to your hand. You can only use this effect of Aberconway once per turn. That's why we're running the 2 copies of this card, just so we have the banish of another one to then have that target in the graveyard to summon and add back that monster to our hand for us to then reuse again. With the last of the Heraldic Beast monsters being the 1 copy of Heraldic Beast Twin-Headed Eagle. You can banish this card from your graveyard to target 1 face-up Xyz monster you control with no XYZ materials and 2 Heraldic Beast monsters in your graveyard, attaching those monsters to it from the graveyard to that face-up Xyz monster as Xyz material. So just a way to replenish some of the Heraldic Beast monsters we use as well for their Xyz materials. With the last of the main deck monsters being 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, just my hand trap spot for the deck. We are running impermanence as well, just so you have a small lineup that doesn't conflict with the other Heraldic Beast monsters we run to go for our Xyz summons, but still have a means to stop your opponent whenever they try to send something to the graveyard or, get a search. For the spells, we do have a good number of different Heraldic Beast or Heraldry spells in the deck. We run 3 copies of Heraldry Reborn. You target 1 Heraldic Beast monster in your graveyard and special summon it. It's not a once per turn, so if you have multiples, you can open up both and then set up your resources on the field to then go for more extra deck plays. So a definite 3 of there. Also 3 copies of Charged Up Heraldry. Tribute 1 monster to special summon 2 Heraldic Beast monsters from your deck in defense position. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from the extract for the rest of this turn after this effect resolves, except for Psychic or Machine monsters. You can only activate 1 Charged Up Heraldry per turn, and and only once per turn. So then you have more options for the special summon, but you aren't really restricted for your psychic or machine plays, because a lot of the fun I like to do as well is have the option for my Heraldic monster and still not be locked out into going into cards like Zeus after the overlay and attacking with that Heraldic Beast monster on the field as well. And then also 3 copies of the field spell Augmented Heraldry. Psychic type Xyz monsters on the field cannot be targeted by spell or trap effects. Once per turn, you can discard 1 Heraldic Beast monster to add 1 Heraldry spell or trap from your deck to your hand, except for Augmented Heraldry. You cannot normal summon or special summon monsters during the turn you activate this, except for Psychic type Xyz monsters and Heraldic Beast monsters, even if this card leaves the field. So while more of a restriction for the turn you activate this effect, it does give you setup for having some of your other search cards, whether it be charged up Heraldry or our Heraldry Reborn, to add to our hand, while protecting the Heraldic or Heraldry monsters that we go into, thanks to this card as well. And then lastly, the 2 copies of Advanced Heraldry Art. Target 2 Heraldic Beast monsters in your graveyard, special summon them, then immediately after Xyz summon 1 Xyz monster using those 2 monsters. So this card doesn't restrict you into just going to the Heraldry Beast monsters. I have 2 in the deck. I was considering running 3. If I were to do so, I would drop down maybe the number of charged up Heraldry to 2 and put in a 3rd copy of Advanced Heraldry. We have all these cards available to us with the search power of Augmented Heraldry, so it's more just a player preference with that final spot. And then also for more of the generic spells, 2 copies of Forbidden Droplet, just because you have send options with your Heraldic monsters in your hand to the graveyard to stop your opponent's card effects with Forbidden Droplet, but then also being able to set up the Heraldic monsters in your graveyard for you to use with their own banish effects. 2 copies of Triple Tactics Talent, just because you're definitely going to get hand trapped a lot in this deck with all the search power, so at least you have a response with your cards to then be able to get either draw power back or even take one of your opponent's resources, with the last of these spells being 1 copy of Ready Fusion and the 1 copy of Call by the Grave for more shutdown of your opponent's monsters in their graveyard, and with Ready Fusion having a target just for another level 4 monster in the extra deck to go into for your Xyz plays. And then for the traps, I run 3 copies of There Can Only Be One. Each player can only control 1 monster of each type. So with this card, we're not really restricted. We have different heraldic monsters: Dragon, Wing Beast, and then Beast, as well as just more of a back and forth between the different monsters that we run for this. So as long as you have those 2 monsters for the overlay, you're not really restricted to the summon of what you go into the extra deck either, because our heraldry monsters are psychic. So you can have all this available to you while being able to still shut down a good amount of the plays your opponent may have tried to do. And then the last of the traps just being 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence, along with the Ash Blossom, just another hand trap spot to at least be able to stop any of your opponent's card effects if they went first against you, or have another trap ready to go along with your There Can Only Be One. For the extra deck, we're running the 1 copy of number 8, Heraldic King Genome Heritage. Once per turn, you can target 1 face-up Xyz monster your opponent controls. This card's name and original attack become that monster's name and current attack, and this card's effect becomes that monster's original effect. And when that monster's attack becomes 0, its effects are negated. These changes last until the end phase. So a great Xyz monster to go into for that setup. I considered running a 2nd copy. It's more restricted, but we only run the Heraldic Beast monsters to begin with in the main deck to go into this card. But still, great setup for sure. And then you can always special summon it back with some of our other monsters as a special summon play on the field, and then re-add the Xyz materials. Also, the 1 copy of Heraldry Crest. When this card is special summon, negate the effects of all face-up Xyz monsters currently on the field. You can target 1 other face-up Xyz monster on the field until the end of this phase. This card's name and original effect become that same as that monster's. You can only use the effect of number 69 once per turn, but still being able to stop card effects while also gain the effects of other cards on the field. Another added bonus for just needing 3 level 4 monsters to do so. And also 2 copies of number 18, Heraldry Patriarch. Once per turn during either player's turn, if 2 or more monsters with the same name are on the field, you can detach 1 Xyz material from this card, choose 1 monster among those with the same name, destroy all other monsters with that name, and while this card remains face-up on the field, your opponent cannot summon monsters with the same name as that card chosen for this effect. So more of a restriction for your opponent. This could also be a potential spot to take out for another number 8 if you wish to run 2 copies of that, and then just run the 1 Patriarch. Also, the 1 copy of Baguska, the 1 Abyss Dweller, the 1 Exciton Knight, the 1 Steel Swarm Roach, 1 Gaga Cowboy for all of the generic rank 4 Xyz monsters we can go into, and then also the 1 Sky Crisis and the 1 Zeus for more of the bigger overlays. And for the Link monsters, just a small Link package with Nightmare Phoenix, IP Masquerena, and Nightmare Unicorn to go into, with the last of our extra deck monsters being the 1 copy of Mavelis just for the ready fusion target to summon out onto the field. And then as for some of the go-to plays in the deck, it all comes down to just your Heraldic Beast setup. Once again, going for the generic normal effect of the cards on the field, you'd have the normal summon of your Heraldic Beast Leo, and then from there, either have the discard cost for your Amphisbaena to special summon out into the field, having your 2 monsters then to overlay into. You can go into either more of a control play with a Baguska summon. If your opponent has a monster on the field, then you can at least copy that monster's resource with cards like Genome Heritage as well, and then have the additional search power if you set up your field spell, and then go for the additional search for any of your heraldry spells as well. I thought of running the heraldry trap, but you really can't do much unless your opponent is running an Xyz monster, and that's why I chose to opt out of running it in the deck to begin with. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed it. Pretty standard deck for Xyz power, but still a lot of fun as well with the variety that you can run in it to begin with. And as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And Kira Twig out.